Hi guys, today I'm going to be working on the 370. Recently I put a cheap eBay exhaust system on and I'm really happy with how it sounds, but I feel like it needs a little more induction noise. So again, I went on eBay and bought the cheapest one I could find, and I'm going to install that today. So we can see here there's really not much to the 370's intake. Just this short ram to an air filter on either side. So we're going to pull those out and we're going to replace those short rams with some aluminum tubing in the kit. So let's have a look at what's in this kit. So one short ram with a really nice textured coating on here. And the second, some sort of heat shield. Bunch of clamps and some hose fittings. The two filters. I quite like this color. I plan on doing my brakes in red eventually, so I think this will be a nice little accent. Okay, so that's everything that's in the kit. Pretty standard stuff. Let's go install it. Okay, so this kit came with 0 instructions. It looks pretty straightforward to me. I'm not exactly sure how some of these hoses are going to fit, but I'm just going to start taking stuff apart and try to fit it the best way I think it goes together. And if I run into any snags, then I'll just look up something on the internet. But I have a pretty good feeling that I can just wing it and get this together. So I'm going to jump on that right now. Okay, so we have it in there, and I'll admit this was a little more of a struggle than I expected. I've done a few of these before, cold air intake, short ram intake on different cars, and this is the first like super cheap kit I've done. First one on this car, obviously. And I knew before going into it, I read a lot of reviews that people had trouble installing it. It only comes with one heat shield, which you can see I didn't even install. It's a short ram, so when I'm idling, there's going to be a lot of heat here. So it's going to get a lot of warm air, but once you start moving, it'll be cooler anyway. I didn't really install this for power increase. I just want the sound. This thing has more than enough power that I'll ever use. Surprisingly, I fought with this. I couldn't figure out what side went where. I didn't have any instructions. In the end, I managed to get it to fit. It actually fits better than I thought it would. The brackets it came with hit this one exactly. It fit here exactly, so it actually fit quite well. I had to trim some of the hoses. That one I trimmed a little too much, so I'm gonna have to replace that later, but it's gonna do for now. I may actually make shrouds to try to direct some of the hot air away from there, but that'll be a future Kurt project. Now I'm going to take it for a little spin and see if there's any sound difference. Obviously I'm sure there will be. I recorded a little clip earlier of it before I removed the stock intakes. I'm not sure what you guys will hear on the camera, but I'll give it my best description afterwards if there is no real difference that I can hear on the camera. But I'm gonna close this up and take it for a spin. Okay, so here we are after the install, and honestly, as I left my driveway, I was expecting a little more induction noise. I've always installed these on like Honda Civics 4-cylinder cars, and right away those sound so much different. You can hear a lot of induction noise and like a loud, like deep roaring sound. I'm not hearing that as much on this. I noticed that the throttle is crazy crisp now. Just the slightest touch and there's a little more reaction from the motor. It does feel a lot punchier. Now I'm just going to do a couple of roll-ons like I did earlier, 4th gear, just to see what kind of sound we get from it. Exhaust still is overwhelming the intake. I do plan on putting some sound deadening material in there. I'm getting a bit of resonance through the body of the car because it's so little insulated. So 5th gear again from about 2200 RPM. So yeah, definitely overpowered by the exhaust, so not nearly as much as I expected. So yeah, I'm not really hearing a real difference inside the car. Maybe it sounds different outside, but the exhaust sounds a little different too. So overall, I don't think it was a bad mod, and luckily it was inexpensive. I would not have paid a lot of money to have such little difference in sound. But I'm gonna see what it sounds like driving day to day. I mean, overall, it's not a bad sound, so I'm sure I'll notice it at different RPMs, different gears, and maybe driving with the windows down, that sort of thing. So I'm going to put it back into just regular automatic and see what it sounds like now. So I'm holding the camera. Definitely is a little more lively. Not that it wasn't before, but I'm quite happy with this. Obviously, I wish I had a little more induction noise. I guess it just sucks so much air and produces so much more power than the cars that I'm used to that it doesn't have time to just sit there and drone on the intake sound. Okay, so it's been about a week since I installed this intake, and I wanted to really take some time, drive it around like I normally do, see what the car feels like, what it sounds like. And one thing I did notice is I can't hear a whole lot of intake noise, probably because the exhaust is so loud. But the exhaust tone changed a little bit, and in my opinion, for the worse. Some people may like the high-pitched, really aggressive supercar type sound, but I kind of like the signature boom, 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 boom sound from the 370. So I'm actually going to go back to the stock intake and see if that sound comes back or if I was just imagining things. But for now, I think that this intake in particular is not for this car with this exhaust, for me anyway. So yeah, that's my opinion on this intake. As I said before, it looks like fairly good quality for the price you're paying. The fitment isn't perfect, but it works. And maybe with a stock exhaust, it would sound a lot better, or a different exhaust. But me personally, I think I'm going to go back to the stock one for now, and we'll see. Maybe I'll upgrade to a full cold air intake, but this one here is just not going to work for me. Well, that's it for this video. I'm not going to go through with you guys putting the stock one back on. You can just run this video in reverse. So if you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet and you'd like to see more of this stuff, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Well, one last update before I let you go. I got the stock intake back in, just went for a little drive, and yep, sure enough, the car sounds better, drives better. Sorry eBay, you can't do any better than Nissan can. Sorry.